So I did have two near-death experiences, and I thought before we shared about how to transform from the near-death, I wanted to share a little bit about my story. And I think stories are so healing, and we see that here at this conference. People share and we heal when we hear other people's stories. So I did have two near-death experiences. My first one was when I was just 18. I was in high school, dating my high school sweetheart. I was a senior in an all-girls school, and we were just out one night, celebrating our senior year. There's no drugs or alcohol or anything like that in the accident, but we were in a horrific car accident, and it was just supposed to be a great fall night. We selected our colleges, and it was easy peasy, beautiful starry night, and we were heading home from a friend's house. And my boyfriend at the time took a turn on a curve, and he was just going too fast. I think in retrospect, I look back and I think maybe he had thought the police or somebody was coming after him, or maybe he was speeding, or I don't know, but he started to drive really fast around a curve. And I heard in the back of my head, put your seatbelt on. So I did. I put my seatbelt on right away. And he didn't put his seatbelt on, although I did. The very last thing I said before the accident was, put your seatbelt on. And the next thing I knew, we were in mud. There was just mud everywhere. And I remember the impact, the experience of it. I don't recall it so much, but I remember just mud and leaves and just the smell of rotten, decaying leaves. And what happened was we fell down a 20-foot ravine. I guess my boyfriend was going to off-road or go on the grass, or I don't know what he was thinking, but we fell down a 20-foot drop, and we fell so deep that no one really knew that we were there, except there was this little speck of a taillight, red taillight, and it gave the interest to a passerby at some point. And they drove away, and they couldn't stop thinking about that little red taillight. So they turned around and came back, and sure enough, they found us in the ravine. Tim died 9 times that night, but came back every time. He was resuscitated, and he ended up with a traumatic brain injury. And the story sounds so depressing, but I promise you that this will be uplifted and light soon enough, but just bear with me here. So he lost the ability to do anything except blink for 20 years. And like I said, I was a senior in high school, going to head off to the best time of my life, and decided that I would stay home and help care for him. I just wanted to be there for him. So I decided to stay local at school, go to college at night, and visit and care with him during the day, kind of be another nurse along with his mom. That night when I was in the car and I had a near-death experience, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what happened to me, but I knew that I was being healed. I was on the other side, and I was being taken care of. They were fixing me, and I knew that I was coming back, and I was coming back. I truly believed to heal. But what I thought I had to do was I thought I had to heal my boyfriend. And so that never happened. He lived for 20 years just blinking his eyes. But I remember I would go to church every day, and I became a minister, and I would visit sick people. I was only 18 years old, and I came back from this car accident, and I just wanted to be in church all the time, which is really something that I learned after learning more about IANDS and studying more about near-death experiences, that, it's one of the things that happens is we can come back and we can become more religious or more spiritual. But I also had, like what other NDEers have, is I had a tremendous amount of anxiety and depression. I also had survivor's guilt because here I survived this accident, and my boyfriend was so traumatically injured. And I came back thinking that I was supposed to heal, in particular my boyfriend, and he wasn't healing. So I couldn't understand what was going on with me. And that just led to more anxiety and more depression. And I just stored the feelings And so deep, because at the time, I mean, my boyfriend was so sick and I wasn't going to talk about my near-death experience. And I didn't want people to think I was crazy. And I just didn't, like many others, I just didn't share. And so I went on, I developed, I did end up getting married, and I had 2 boys, and I was so happy to have found love and light in my life. But yet I went on with guilt because I left my boyfriend after 6 years. It was time. I developed breast cancer when I was 32, and I founded the nonprofit Connect Through Cancer because my kids were babies at the time. And I really thought that I came back and I was going to be of service and I was going to help other people. So, I helped him for 6 years. And then I founded and was the executive director of this nonprofit supporting people that were sick with cancer and helping to care for their children. And so lo and behold, when I have my second near-death experience and I get turned away at the light, I was like, what the heck? How does this happen twice? What am I doing wrong in this lifetime? My second near-death experience, I was in Florida visiting or just vacationing with my family. And 2 hours after we landed, I was in the ER with advanced sepsis and my reconstructed breast. And so I go away on vacation and I find that I need to have my breast re-removed. And that experience was really much more, that near-death experience I was longer in the light. I was spent days kind of out of my body, looking over my hospital bed, knowing I was going to die. And I remember telling my mom and other people that I was going to be, I'm going to go. I know what's happening to me. I knew I was crossing over. And I knew I was at such peace. And that's one of the things that I found in my experience. And maybe if you had near death, you and yours, there was such a tremendous amount of peace to cross over, and thinking I had kids at the time and how would I be okay with crossing over? But I was really okay with it. And I was really, really at peace. Even though it looked like I was suffering and I was in pain, I really wasn't. My body was, but my soul was not. My soul was very happy. And I went into the light and I remember feeling the unconditional love. I remember hearing the angels singing. And I remember sitting in the arms of the master healer. And I was filled with so much love and light. And I knew I was being sent back because I had yet more work to do. So I came back and I had years of anxiety and depression, bouts of it. But let me tell you, you get turned away at the light twice and you're like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me that I cannot get into the light, that I cannot get into his arms? So when I came back after that near-death experience, I really, really had a tremendous amount of anxiety. And what I learned was that it was the trauma. It was the trauma. See, we have the near-death experiences, but it's the trauma. It's healing the trauma that leads us to the near-death experience that I hadn't done. And that was what I needed to do. I was at my lowest low. Like I said, I had 2 kids. I contemplated, I remember when the word suicide entered my mind for the second time. I never thought about how I was going to do it or what I was going to do. I heard the word. And I knew when I heard the word, I knew I needed to heal. And I remember I Googled, how to heal. And I had visited an energy healer back when I had my cancer when I was 32. Almost 20 years ago. And I knew this experience was extraordinary, this healing experience. I didn't know what she did. She did something with my chakras, she said. And so I thought, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to heal myself. I'm going to do that chakra thing to myself. So I went online and I Googled how to heal and chakras. And I came across an energy healer, Deborah King, and she has since been my mentor, my teacher, and my friend. And she has been really instrumental in teaching me how to heal myself. I knew I was supposed to heal in this lifetime. I knew that was my calling. But what I didn't realize was that part of the reason I came back was because I had to heal and be myself. I spent, like so many of you, we spend the majority of so much of our life and our day to day doing for so many other people that we step away, we step out of alignment with our true self, with our higher self. So I spent the majority of my life trying to serve and be of service because I thought that's what I needed to do. But truly what I needed to do was I needed to be me. I had to just allow my body, my presence here, so that spirit could just use me as a tool. And I spent more time being worried about what I was doing to help other people, because I thought for some reason that's what I was supposed to do. So I learned how to heal. I learned how to heal my trauma. And so that's what I want to share with you, how to heal your trauma, because it really is possible. But boy, let me tell you, I was pretty down. And I think one of the greatest things that I do know is that you know, when we have that near-death experience, and so many people have them, they don't realize they have them, but we were all touched by that light. And being touched by that light, it increases our vibe. And that increased vibe allows us to connect with spirit in a way that ordinarily is not so available. It's kind of like we're magnified. And we have the opportunity to connect to a really, really high light and a really high vibration. It makes it easier for us to do that, having had this near-death experience. So there are gifts that we can get from having had this trauma that led us to a near-death experience. There are gifts that can come of it. And they're happening to us, even if we don't even realize that these gifts are happening to us. Spirit is moving through us, whether we realize it or not. So how do we heal the trauma? And how do we manifest these gifts? Well, everyone here, you know, we all have that ability to tap into the gifts, that the healing, the spiritual gifts and the paranormal gifts. We have it. But what blocks us from the ability to manifest them is our wounds and our traumas. Because those wounds and those traumas, when I work on a client, it looks like a black cloud, a black tennis ball. But these wounds, the traumas, the pent-up emotion, like the same ones I had of shame and guilt, they block the light, they block the vibe. And we're all here. Look, we're here at this incredible conference to raise our vibration, to raise our consciousness, to become more aware. But what we have to do at the same time is we have to heal the trauma. We have to heal the wounds. We have to let them go. And I'm not suggesting that anyone go back to the hardest, darkest days of their life and relive them, because I personally don't think that's necessary. I think that what we have to do is that we have to actually just find the wound and let it go. And how we do that is we find it, we feel it, and we just forgive it. We just find it and feel it and forgive it and feel the emotion. It's not the act of the trauma. It was the emotions that were experienced in that traumatic event. So my car accident, you know, it was the emotions that were related to that trauma that were blocking my light, that really were causing the anxiety and the PTSD and the depression, because I certainly wasn't grounded and my 6 and 7 chakras weren't clear and open. My heart was certainly full of things that I had to let go of and forgive myself for. So it was no surprise really that I got breast cancer when I was 32, because my heart was full of things that I had just been holding on to for so many years and needed to forgive. I needed to forgive myself. I needed to forgive the incident, and I needed to let it go. And I needed to feel, I needed to recognize and say, you know what? It hurt. You know, I was ashamed. You know, I was also sad. I was scared, whatever it was, the emotions that were related to that trauma, we just have to feel them and let them go. I was a hot mess. And I will tell you, everybody in my family and all my friends said the same thing. I was a hot mess. I needed to heal. I was not well. I was not moving in the direction of life that I should have been. I think that, like a lot of other NDEs, you know, there's addictions that can happen. Behavior patterns that aren't really healthy can happen as a result of that trauma. And we don't want that. We have to heal the trauma. So, and we need to open that light, allow that light to come in so that we can manifest the healing gifts. I remember when I was like, okay, I'm going to heal. I'm going to heal myself and I'm going to get better. Okay, so how do I do this? And so, like I said, I was studying under Deborah, and she taught me ways to heal and things that I could do. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm I'm going to do all of them. I'm going to do it. I'm going to journal. I'm going to, align with my core beliefs. I'm going to spend time in nature. I'm going to do forgiveness exercises. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to pray. I'm going to do all these things. I just wanted to heal. And I can remember when I was doing the journaling and writing down how I felt. I feel happy. What's making me feel happy? What am I doing that's making me happy? I just had to connect with myself. I spend so much. We all do. We spend so much of our lifetime out of alignment, literally shifting our energy field, shifting our purpose to align with somebody else's. And we can feel ourselves doing it, can't we? Sometimes when we're out with friends or we run into somebody at the store, we can sometimes feel ourselves shift to meet them instead of staying in ourselves. And I needed to get back in my body so that I could heal myself, so that I could heal the people that needed me to heal them. So I did my journaling and stayed real connected with my emotions. And I can remember I wrote down what my beliefs were. I had to learn what I actually believed in. No matter what it was, big or small, I had to write down what I actually believed in, because I spent a lot of my life living beliefs that actually I was just kind of told I had to believe. And it was like, oh, wait a minute, that's not really me. That's not really what I believe. And I also had to find a connection with myself. I had to get back into my body. I had to go into my body and I had to feel it. I had to feel my heartbeat. I had to feel my feet on the ground. I had to connect with myself. And that was probably one of the hardest things to do, because I just didn't know myself. I didn't even know my favorite color. If you do not know your favorite color or your favorite food or your favorite movie, you should sit with yourself. Really get to know yourself, because we have to know what brings us joy. We have to know what makes us happy, what brings us joy. We have to incorporate that in every day. So I remember when I was trying to heal this trauma and I went for a run, and I would take this run and I would run this loop all the time. For years, I would run this loop. And one day I was really tired and I thought, oh my gosh, I've been trying to heal. I've been journaling, I've been meditating and praying, and here I am in nature and I'm doing the forgiveness exercises, and I just didn't feel good. And I thought, it was the first day that I thought, I probably could use some anxiety medicine, because I had finally stopped taking all the medication and I really was in a good place. And I was running and I saw this tree, and this tree, even though I pass it every time I ran for years, it was this tree that had all of these vines wrapped around it, but they weren't thin vines. They were thick, heavy vines all wrapped around this tree. And I remember I stopped and I looked at the tree and I thought vines were supposed to kill trees. And those vines are all over that tree. And it actually looked beautiful. It was a beautiful tree. And I remember I kept running and I heard the tree. I heard spirit say, I have enough. And I remember thinking, what am I hearing? And I heard the tree say, I have enough. I have enough of the nutrients that come in from the soil. I drink the dew off the leaves. I soak in the sun and the energy from the moon. And I tell my branches to quiet, and I silence the leaves, and I'm quiet during the day. And sometimes I have to tell a vine to find another tree. And that was seriously one of the biggest transformative healing days that I ever experienced. I have enough. And what I knew in that moment was I still hadn't had enough. I spend so much time I'm going to heal. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the journaling. I'm going to find connection. I'm going to spend time in nature. But you know what? I still didn't have enough of me. I still wasn't focusing on what it was that I needed. And that day transformed me. And I will never forget it. And it was the first time that I realized, oh my God, I can tell a vine to find another tree. And you know what? The tree said, they always do. They always find another tree. I thought, oh my gosh, I felt so free. I felt so free that day. So make sure that you have enough. But there's lots of gifts that are associated with these near-death experiences that we have. And the truth is that if you want to experience the gift and what the gift feels like, you have to know how you feel. You have to know what life feels like to you. You have to know what it feels like what makes you feel good. Sitting in front of the ocean or water, or what does that feel like? What does it feel like when you hear a bird sing? What does it feel like when you see a leaf fall from the tree? You have to know how you feel. You also have to know how you feel when someone makes you angry, or somebody steps into your space, or somebody disempowers you, or throw some negative energy your way. You have to connect with yourself and really sit with yourself so that you can feel yourself, so that you can feel the gifts that you're going to receive from the near-death experience. Connect with yourself. Like I said, journal. Think about what it is that your core beliefs are, what it is that brings you joy. Are you living where you want to live? Are you doing what you want to do? What is it you want to do? I can't tell you how many times I speak with a client and I ask them what it is that they want. And most oftentimes nobody knows. And we wonder why we have so much anxiety. Well, we're all out of our bodies. We're all in everyone else's space. We're on their page. We're in their story. We need to get back in ourselves. We also have to light the fire within us, because we all have it. And how often do you sit with yourself and close your eyes and go in and ignite your light? Sit with yourself today at some point in time, close your eyes, go into your third chakra and strike the match that lights the flame of you. Light your fire every day and feel the pulse of your light moving through you, so that you light your will, because every single one of us are here in this lifetime, in this body, for something that is so great. Even if it's as simple as being a great mom, or if it's just whatever job it is that you're doing, but we all have to be the best version of us. And it's just by going back in. We have to go into our heart. I can remember when I went with that healer all those years ago, and she asked me to go into my heart and tell her what my heart looked like. And I remember it was dark, it was empty, it echoed. There was an echo in my heart. And I could see myself in my heart sitting and crunching down in that fetal position all by myself. That is a terrible image of what an inner heart looks like. But that's what mine looked like all those years ago. For so many years, my heart was empty. My heart was broken. I was alone. And what we have to do is we have to go in and we have to open our heart and go in it. See, we always think we have to go out for the joy, for the peace, for the light, for the love. We all think we have to go out and find it somewhere else. But how often do we sit with ourselves and go into our heart and open door after door after door until you get to the center of yourself? Because that is where the healing happens. It begins in the heart. So if you want to manifest healing gifts, if you want to make this, want to be a healer, or whatever it is that you want to do with these gifts that come from a near-death experience, you have to have a heart that's open and that's full of love, and you have to start to build it. So now when I see my heart, I can jump into it, just like walk right into my heart. And I see my guys. I see Teresa of Avila and the Little Flower and Magdalene and Mary. I see everybody. My dogs. I see everything. There's so much joy. So sit with your heart. Go into your heart and feel, just open every single door, every single layer, until you get to the feeling of unconditional love. And if you can't feel it, I don't know if you have a dog or a cat or a pet, but let me tell you, they can make you feel like unconditional love. So think about your dog or something that you love so much, that loves you unconditionally, that's so easy for you to access your heart. And you have to speak your truth and live your truth, and stop doing things out of guilt and shame, or because you have to. Start using words like, it's not going to work for me today, because it's not going to work for me today, because today I don't have enough. And feel your emotions and acknowledge them. Maybe you're super great at this already, but it doesn't hurt to ever be reminded to feel and acknowledge the feelings. I remember I went to this beach town, and I was invited by a guest to see her new beach house, and oh my God, it was spectacular. And I walked in and I looked around and I thought, okay, this is what jealousy feels like. This is what it feels like. But that's a silly note, but just acknowledge your feelings. Because the truth is, if you want to help somebody, whether it's a child, a parent, or friend, and heal them energetically, heal them as a healer, or just heal them and help them, you can help them when you heal yourself. When you're healed, when your vibe is high, when your wounds have left the building, and you're filled with light, your light will just move right through them and to them. So you can help somebody by doing nothing, just by being the best, highest vibe version of yourself that you can be. So what are some of the paranormal gifts? You guys probably already all know them or have heard of them. I mean, we know that there's also like levitating and enhanced intuition and all those kinds of things, but the clairs are always the fun and easiest ones, like clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience. They're the kind of the top three that you'll hear people mention most often. Clairvoyance is just that. It's the ability to see more clearly. Clairaudient, it's the ability to hear. So when you have this vibration and you have this light within you, your senses are going to be so much more increased, and you're going to have the ability to hear and sense more. The first place to start, honestly, is clairsentience. That's the ability to feel. And you probably are doing that naturally all the time anyway. So many of us just live empathically. We just take on everybody else's feelings without even knowing that's what we're doing. And so we're so weighed down and we're so heavy and have no energy, like people would say, because they've just taken on stuff that's not theirs. And it's like drinking lead paint. That's the way I think about it. It's not my stuff to process. I can't process your stuff. And it's not helpful for me to process your stuff. But clairsentience is just that ability, that enhanced ability to feel what somebody else is feeling. So we're resonating tools. Our bodies are instruments for spirit. And so they play sound, they move, they make noise. They tap us like a drum on the shoulder or in a chakra. But if you want to start with the easiest one to manifest, I would say clairsentience. Sit with yourself and how do you feel when somebody else walks in the room? Do you have a sudden pain in your back? Do you have a headache out of nowhere? Are you all of a sudden in a really foul mood? That's the easiest one to know that you're picking up stuff that's not yours. And a lot of people that have anxiety, not saying that they don't have anxiety, but a lot of anxiety is other people's. We can walk into the net. We can just walk right through the cobweb and take all of it, just even though it's not ours. So every single day you should really say to yourself, is this mine or theirs? If you have a headache, or if you have, you're in a foul mood, or you're feeling something that feels uncomfortable, if it's anxiety, or you start to have heart palpitations or race just out of nowhere, just say, is this mine or is this somebody else's? Because chances are you're already feeling at a level that's super high. And I know for myself personally that I was filled with energy and emotion that wasn't mine, that I had felt. My heart was feeling so deeply the emotions of other people that just my intention of thinking of them and my open heart was kind of absorbing energy and emotion that wasn't mine. And it was just, and I can see it on clients too. It's just like, it looks like pockets all over the heart chakra. Clairaudience is just that hearing, the ability to hear. Are your ears starting to ring a little bit more? Are you sensitive to more sound? Do you hear things differently? Do the fire trucks and does the music, do you need to tone it down a little bit? Your gift may be clairaudient. And that for me, clairaudience it's like the word within my head. And it's a word that has basically just been handed to me. And you might have that experience too, where you all of a sudden something comes to your mind and you think, what am I thinking about that for? Chances are you're actually not thinking of it. Spirit probably just dropped it right into your awareness for you to hear. So think about which gifts you might be more attracted to. Go with your gut. So if you look at the list or you look at any of the clairs and one or two jumps out, chances are that's probably one that aligns with you or you might have. So the clairs are certainly paranormal gifts that we can all get. But one of the biggest things that I think that we have to remember is that we actually get spiritual gifts from our NDEs as well. And for people that are listening that haven't had an NDE, you don't have to have a near-death experience to receive to receive spiritual gifts or paranormal gifts, you can just have you can just have life experiences, and you can become different and better because of your life experiences and helping you to manifest these spiritual gifts. So if you think about over your lifetime, or if you think about after you've had your NDE, or what has changed, what do you long to do? What do you feel like your calling is? And what have you manifested? What gifts are you manifesting? Not just for you, but also for you to share. Because I truly believe that we are all here to serve and to create at some level. And our light that we have is meant to help other people. And the gifts that we have, regardless of whatever it is, they're really meant for us to share. So what is it that you need to work on? What spiritual gift do you need to manifest? Do you have the desire to teach spirituality, to teach anything, really? Yoga, teach somebody how to manage their finances. Do you feel like that you're being called to teach or to share something with other people? Wisdom, have you received an incredible amount of wisdom from your near-death experiences? Is there something that you could share with somebody or manifest at a greater level, your wisdom? Same with understanding and piety, just, becoming more spiritual, and discernment, counsel, making better decisions. So there's all kinds of gifts. There's not just paranormal gifts that you can experience from an NDE, but you also have spiritual gifts that download for you. I believe the spiritual gifts that I was meant to manifest after my NDE were that of serving and teaching. I truly believe that Spirit's moving us to share and to help raise the vibration. And how do we do that? Well, by attending these kind of conferences like IANDS is offering, by increasing our vibe and sharing our stories of healing so that we can help somebody else heal. So how do we manifest the gifts? I hope you guys aren't falling asleep on me here, but how do we manifest the gifts? We have to go back to the basics. You have to clear your energy field. You have to keep your vibe high. You have to let go of the wounds that block the light and clear your chakras. Get a massage, take a clearing bath. I don't know if you've ever heard of go swim in the ocean. It's great. Salt water is really helpful, or even like a salt scrub. You can make a salt scrub, but clear your personal energy field. And that means just get rid of the gunk that's blocking your light. Whether it's a negative emotion, shame, guilt, envy, all those things can kind of muck our field up. But clear your chakras. See a healer, clear your chakras, or learn how to clear your chakras on your own. But definitely keep your personal energy field clear so that it can vibe high. And, like I said earlier, getting into your own body and connecting with yourself so that you're aware of where you're blocked. And if you're focusing on a certain area of your body, then chances are you have a block in that chakra. And our emotions fuel our chakras. So you're probably going to have to sit with yourself and figure out what kind of emotions that you're holding on to or harboring. Manifesting paranormal gifts is all trust. Someone once said to me, what's the most important thing to know about healing? And I said, trust. You have to trust yourself, and you have to trust Spirit, and trust that everything is happening just as it should, that our journey is happening just as it should, and that we're learning and growing. But we have to trust that it's actually happening. I was having some really spiritually ecstatic visions, and I got a little scared myself, and I thought, this can't be. And so I went to an energy healer myself, a really fabulous one in South Korea. Her name is Grace Say. And I needed healing. And what happened was I just didn't trust. I lost trust. And I needed to trust myself and trust that Spirit was moving through me. Trust the time and be patient. If you want to manifest gifts, that's just probably your soul inner longing to do it. So do it. So spend some time on it and trust that no matter how long it takes, it's coming. It could be little bits and pieces, and then all of a sudden it could just really explode. And mental prayer is a great way to manifest spiritual and paranormal gifts. Focus on an image of a higher being, no matter who it is for you, as if it's Buddha, if it's the Christ, if it's a divine feminine, if it's a hawk, if it's a stone. Sit with the energy of something that has a high vibration, and allow that energy to move through you and settle into you. Mental prayer and contemplation on a high vibe person, or a stone, something in nature, an animal, is really, really powerful. And I would try that. I also would exercise the clairs. So say, for instance, if you're interested in, in enhancing your clairaudient ability, focus on sound. Do some exercises with hearing. Close your eyes and listen to the sound of your body, and what noise does it make? What sound does it make? And listen to music, and listen for words, but just exercise your sound, your ability to hear. And the same thing with seeing. If you want to see, look at the sky and focus. And what do you see? And look and talk to spirit and ask to see it, and keep practicing it. And write it down in a notebook. Write down in a notebook what's happening with your gifts, which ones you want to manifest, which ones you want to work on, which ones you think that you have. Because acknowledging that you have it is a message to spirit to help you manifest it. So take the time and acknowledge it. And meditating is really a great way to increase your vibration, because a mantra-based meditation really does clear your field. It clears and releases and lets, we heal naturally. Our body heals naturally through meditation. So I would really meditate. Just keep your vibe high. Stay around people that have a high vibration, and have enough, and take care of yourself.